Welcome back. Today I thought we would tap a little bit about what it means when you believe everything that you're told. Well, not exactly everything you're told, but when you limit what you believe you can achieve because of what people have told you. Imagine for a minute that someone now told you that the earth was flat. Would you believe them? Of course not. But it certainly was thought to be true, and people really, really believed it. It was considered fact that the world was flat. What would have happened if Christopher Columbus had not taken off and decided that that was not true? What about the Wright brothers? Everybody knew back then that people could not fly, that there was no way to make a machine that could fly. Everybody knew that. But they didn't believe it, even though that was considered fact. They had a different knowing or a different belief or a different thought about the way things could be, and they pursued it. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty grateful for that every time I have to go on a long trip and I can go by plane instead of a long, arduous journey. So there's some danger, real danger, in believing what you're told to believe. Now, I don't want to challenge people's religious beliefs or other deeply held beliefs like that. But if you've never stopped to consider whether those things are true for you or not, then I would even encourage you to take a look at that. But let's turn back to something a little more practical. Have you ever been told something that deep in your heart you knew was not true for you, but everybody else believed it, and so you sort of squashed the thought, or you went along or changed your behavior to go with what everybody else told you was true? I have. And recently I caught myself doing it again. And this may not seem terribly big to you, but there's a little what if going in my head. What if it's not true? And I'm giving up because somebody else told me it was true. So I'll get more specific. I've got this knee problem, and I have what's called arthrofibrosis, And so what that is a lot of scar tissue that's building up in my knee, and I was told that once that happened, that I probably would never be able to bend my knee correctly again, and that it was going to just get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I bought into that. What if it's not true? How have I been changing my behaviors? What have I been doing because I believed it was true? And what might happen if it's not true and I quit believing it was true? So that's kind of where I was going with the tapping today. See if you can come up with an example of your own for where this might be going for you, something that you've believed that was true. Perhaps it's something as simple as quitting smoking is hard. Is there proof that quitting smoking for you would be hard? If you've tried before and it didn't work, does that prove that you can't do it this time? That's a belief, it's not a fact. And when we buy into those things, I think they hold us back. So taking full responsibility for your own health and well-being, and remembering that by tapping along, you're agreeing to the terms that are found at www.drleannamanuel.com/disclaimer. Let's get started. I have a tendency to believe what other people tell me is true. I take it in like fact. And I let it be the lens that I see the possibilities of my life through. In spite of that, I'd like to consider moving forward toward my dreams and my goals with confidence and love. Even though I sometimes blindly accept things as true that may not be true at all. I'm okay. Even though in the past, and hopefully not in the future, I've accepted things as fact when they may just be beliefs, I love and accept myself anyway, even with this potential challenge. I believe things that aren't true. At least they might not be true for me. And I've come to believe that this might not be in my best interest. These beliefs might be true for someone else, but I'm not sure they're true for me. Or at least I don't believe they have to be. Maybe that's someone else's truth. Maybe it's their fact. It might even turn out to be the way things are for me too. But it might not. And if I buy in that it has to be that way, what might I be missing out on? Would I be having more pain than I have to have? Would I be missing out on opportunities that maybe I could have had? Would I be limiting myself needlessly? I think that's a real possibility. And I'm considering changing that. It seems like a fine line between being realistic and being real. I've always sort of prided myself on being realistic. But that may not have gotten me exactly where I want to go. But I'm not really sure about the being real part. It feels like that means staying in the moment, being aware of what's happening now, listening to my inner guidance, being aware of the possibilities, acknowledging the what-ifs. The what if it works out, and the what if it doesn't. And really believing that I'll be okay no matter what. Much like an explorer, I can look at the current facts, such as they are, and decide to believe them or not believe them. Some people might call this folly, or being irresponsible, or being unrealistic. But I choose not to be tied down by things that may or may not be true. I choose to see the joy in my possibilities and recognize that my knee could get all better all on its own if I get out of the way and allow it. I choose to be okay if it gets better. I choose to be okay if it doesn't get better on my schedule. I choose to be okay. I choose to listen to my inner voice about what's true, what's not true, what's a fact, and know that a lot of these are just beliefs and opinions. I'm open to listening to the inside me that knows which ones are true for me and which ones aren't. There's danger in believing what other people tell me to believe. I choose to avoid that danger and believe what I need to believe. I choose to question. I choose to research. I choose to read. I choose to consult. But ultimately, I choose to believe in me. Take a deep breath and let it out. Until next time, happy tapping.